Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. We'll follow up on that Marx 1666 that arrived. $12 on eBay with a Lionel Sound of Power mechanical tinder. So the motor was frozen absolutely solid. So I took the motor out. Headlight needs to be replaced. But the armature was out of position. The armature bearing was out of position. So it took about 10 minutes to get that fixed. So the locomotive is running. I ran it on the bench, and for now I just put the belt, the broken belt, back on that tinder, and put a piece of tape on it just to hold it in place, just so I could test it. So this is going to be the grand test. First trip around the rail pulling a Lionel consist with this Lionel Sound of Power mechanical tinder. So let's see how this 1666 runs. Well, turn the power on first. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Reverse and forward. So it's first trip around the rail. Like I said, the headlight is out. I need to replace that. And it's smoking. So a Marx 1666 and that Lionel tinder, $12 on eBay. And that appears to be running quite well. And it's definitely smoking. There's no doubt about that. So I haven't done anything to this yet other than a few drops of oil. But as you can see, it's smoking. It's running fairly well. Now this thing had not been run in years, decades in fact. So it was definitely worth the $12. There's no doubt about that. Just in parts alone, it was worth more than $12. So it runs good. I got to get the headlight replaced. That's actually smoking really well. So a Marx 1666 smoker with the Lionel Sound of Power tinder, and I got to replace that belt. I don't even think the disc is turning in that tinder, but it was definitely worth $12, no doubt about that. It's actually running fairly well, pulling tin cars at about 55% power, something like that, and it's smoking. So the more this runs, the better it will run. Like I said, the armature bearing was out of place and the motor was frozen. So very likely it's been frozen forever. That's probably the last time it ran was the day that bearing got knocked out of position. It was probably dropped. So as you can see, it's not in terrible condition at all. A couple of minutes cleaning this up, straightening the hand rods, or the handrails, getting the rust off the push rods, getting it lubed and tuned. This is going to be a great addition to the collection. As you can see, this is actually smoking quite well. It was definitely worth $12, no doubt. So it runs good. So now it's just a matter of getting it cleaned up, getting it lubed and tuned, getting all the rust off those push rods, which is fairly easy to do. But as you can see, this is running actually quite well. And of course, the more it runs, the better it will run. But it was definitely worth what I paid for it. No doubt about that. So it's smoking really well, surprisingly enough. All right, so I'm happy with it, no doubt. Anyway, I'll be running this the rest of the day, as usual. Do a follow-up video once I get this cleaned up, get the handrails sorted out, get it lubed and tuned, get the headlight working. So, no problems so far. It smokes, it runs forward and reverse, so the E unit is working. as you can see. So it's not in terrible condition. It's absolutely filthy. So I got to get it cleaned up, get it lubed, get all the rust off of it. This is going to be a great addition to the collection, no doubt. Got to get those handrails straightened out. But was it worth 12 bucks? You tell me. The tender alone would sell more than for more than 12 bucks. So 1666 and the Lionel Sound Power mechanical tender. So I got to replace that belt. Like I said, I don't even think the disc is rotating in it. So I'll do that next, do a follow-up video on the tender. But so far so good. So I got to replace the headlight, very likely, and we'll take it from there. But it's up and running and it's smoking. E-unit is working. So it was definitely worth the $12. There's no doubt. So I got to say it. Don't overlook the junk. It took about 10 minutes to get this locomotive running. And I guarantee you, this locomotive had not run in decades. It's been sitting someplace, very likely in a closet, because there's not a lot of rust on it at all. But there's surface rust. So I'll oil this and then lightly scrape it with a razor blade and get the handrails sorted out. These are really badly bent. This is very likely from storage. So anyway, I just want to do a quick follow-up video on this. Marx 1666 and the Jersey Central Lines Sound Power Lionel mechanical tender. 12 bucks on eBay. Really difficult to beat that. Anyway, just want to do a quick follow-up video. So it's running forward, reverse, and it's smoking. So a few minutes work, and this is going to actually be a really nice locomotive. So, like I said, this thing had not been run in decades. So I'll get it lubed and tuned, clean the brushes, clean the armature, get all the rust off of it, straighten out these handrails. Like I said, this is very likely from storage. You can see it's just plain bent. And get it sorted out, and it's going to be a really decent locomotive. And it's smoking. Actually smoking quite well. So anyway, I just want to do a quick follow-up video on the 1666 and the Lionel tender. So again, gotta say it, don't overlook the junk. 12 bucks on eBay. So I just want to do a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.